Hi, Hiram here. The other day I did a little video on my fire starters. The ones, and one of them was these that I make from sawdust and red wax, or you could use any color wax. But I had shown those. And I got a comment from Long Island Prepper 1, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it's Long Island or Long Island Prepper 1, where they asked, can you show us how you coated your fire starters in wax? I'm trying it now and not able to get a good coating like I see you have got. He even used red wax to see it better. So I thought what I do is do a quick video, I hope a quick video, on how I make these things, the ones with wood. Now I had said that if you have a source of sawdust, you're ahead of the game. I don't here, so what I have to use is I use aspen bedding like what you would get from a pet shop. It looks like this. Here, I'll do a close-up shot and put it on the screen. That's a quarter in front of it. I don't throw that in, but that's just there to show you what the chips look like. They're big hunkers. What I'll do with them now is I take these and I put them in an old food processor. Do not use your wife's blender or anything like that. Whatever you do this in is going to be pretty near messed up just for that anymore. So I take these chips, put them in like so, and unfortunately you can't see the top. It's too tall for the camera. Just put them in here, and I'm going to speed this up, but you just grind them up. Okay, so that's what that's like. That only took maybe about 2 minutes. I probably condensed this for the video. But then what you have is stuff that looks like this. Just like that. Now what I'll do is I'll do a close-up shot here and put it in. What I usually want with this is not so much sawdust, but like saw chips. It's much finer than the big chips that you saw before, but it's not exactly dust. And this is what I'll use for making my fire starters. So let me clean this stuff off, and I'll be right back for the coating. Okay, I'm back. Put all that stuff away. Now this is how I melt my wax. I use a mug warmer. It's one of those things like what people that drink coffee and stuff in offices, they can put their mugs on these things, and it keeps their coffee warm. I pick these up at Goodwill, usually for $1 or something. They're really handy. You don't want to do this kind of stuff in your wife's kitchen. You make a mess and you're in the doghouse for the longest time. I know. So I do it out here. If you can do it in the kitchen, you could use a double boiler or something to melt your wax. You don't want to just melt wax though on an open flame. This keeps it wet. I don't know if you can see it here. It melts it down real nice. So then you just want a small metal cup. Normally I do it in this one. You can see how it messes up the pan. I do bigger batches in this, but for today, so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to make a small one. Now this was a piece of wax about this size, just a broken candle wax. Threw it in there, and within about 10 minutes or so, it was melted down. You also want to hang on to these wicks. They come in handy for other things. So I've got the melted wax there. All I do now is, while it's still on the mug warmer, just put some of this in. Don't dump it all in at one shot. You want to see how much wax you've got in this. Never made a small batch like this, so this ought to be interesting. While it's warm on the mug warmer, just kind of stir it around, get it all covered. The mug warmer keeps the wax melted, or a double boiler, like I said, would do the same thing. Just stir it in there, make sure all the stuff gets all good and coated. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's still some loose wax in there. So what I can do is I just add a little more sawdust. Careful, you just don't want to put too much in or you end up having to add wax. But you just want it so that when you have your sawdust in here, all of it is coated without a bunch of wax on the bottom of the pot being wasted. And I like using red because, again, I can see if the stuff is coated. Everything starts turning red. Just get it off the sides, mix it up. Okay. And that's how I do it. Now there's one more step I want to try here, but that's how I coat my wax. On a larger scale usually, but just like that. I got a comment from WJF213 where WJF asked about putting magnesium shavings on the cotton rounds, if that would help them be a good fire starter. Interesting idea. I thought while I'm doing this, I'll add some magnesium shavings and see what it does when I go to light this. So I'll just pour a little bit in here. Now this shouldn't start on fire right now. That's a nice thing about this mug warmer. It's not that terribly warm, just enough to melt wax. So now I'll mix this stuff in. See if I can disperse it around. Come on. Could have separated those a little better. But you just keep mixing it in. Mixing it all around. You just don't want loose wax on the bottom of the bowl because that's kind of wasted. Should have busted them up better. Okay, so once your stuff is mixed up the way you want it, in this case with the added magnesium strips, pieces, shavings. Now you're taking this on your own if you want to try this. I'm just trying it. You shouldn't do it unless you know what you're doing. I do this stuff so you don't have to. Once you've got everything mixed up the way you want it, I just lay down a piece of wax paper. Take your coated shavings. You know, if you want, you can put them in a form like a tin or something and get them round. But all I do is just form them up kind of squarish, flatten them out while they're still warm, and they should stick. Okay, so once you've got that, just let it set for a little bit until it cools and solidifies, and you've got your fire starter. So let me break here. While this stuff solidifies, I'll clean up some of this mess, and we'll be back for a lighting test. Okay, back again. The temperature in here is a little high, so this isn't solidifying as hard as I'd like it to, but it's hard enough for me to try it here. So what I'll do now is, I showed you, this is what it looks like right now. And what I'll do is break off a piece, see if I get a piece with the magnesium in it. Put it on the plate. Just a little piece here. Don't want to light the whole place up. Let me get rid of this. Put that off to the side. Okay, let me go to camera 2. And let's see what happens. The wax is burning well. The magnesium lights and just kind of peters out, I guess because it's got wax all over it. But you can see that the wood is working. It's all lighting up, working very well. So that's there goes some magnesium. I guess because it's in strips and shavings, not powder, that it's just not doing much of anything but lighting. So I hope that helps. Long Island Prepper 1. All you got to do is just mix it with the wood chips, the wood sawdust in a heated situation. Don't let it cool off and mix it in it. It'll get kind of clumpy. You got to mix everything while it's still warm. But it makes for a pretty nice little fire starter. So I thank Long Island Prepper 1 for his question. I thank you for watching. I look forward to your input, questions, remarks, helpful suggestions. And as always, watch for my buddy Max. Bye now.